28th, 2020, and we're glad you carved out 10 minutes to watch our show. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. This is a big week for children in Spain. They're now allowed to play outside. For the past 6 weeks during the country's lockdown, adults have been allowed to go to the store or the pharmacy, but kids have only seen the light of day from indoors. There are still a lot of restrictions on what they're allowed to do. They can only stay outside for an hour. A parent has to be with them. They can't play with the neighbors, and playgrounds and parks are still closed. But Spain is one of the countries that's slowly and cautiously opening things back up. And the nation's prime minister says if the number of coronavirus infections continues to decrease, adults could be allowed to go out to exercise as soon as this weekend. Several other European countries, from Belgium to Italy to Malta, are looking to ease some of their restrictions in the days ahead. And in America, certain states are looking to reopen non-essential businesses as well. Places like hair salons, movie theaters, and restaurants. The general rule of thumb in the US and other countries is that stores in areas with fewer coronavirus cases are more likely to be opened first. There have been a number of protests around the world, with people calling for an end to stay-at-home orders, saying they infringe on freedom and damage economies. But health officials have said that if places are reopened too soon in areas where the disease is still spreading, another wave of infections could sweep through. There's still so much that's unknown about COVID-19 and what it's going to do. The first cases of this were reported in Wuhan, a city in eastern central China, in December of 2019. Today, we're joining a CNN reporter on his trip back into the city.
It's Tuesday, April 21st, and after, I guess it was about 2.5 months, we are leaving Shanghai. The team here is ready to go. Where's Shad? She's somewhere back there. Oh, there you are. Headed to our next stop. So we'll see what that's going to be like.
Our journey back to the original epicenter of the novel coronavirus outbreak required weeks of planning. While within China, some cities are easing travel restrictions, new hotspots can suddenly surface, and so too, new lockdowns, which could trap us mid-travel for an unknown amount of time. But all layered up, and we felt this was the moment to return.
And this is our ticket here. It might be reversed, but maybe you can see it. Take a picture so you can see it. Our destination set for Wuhan. It's going to be about a 4-hour train ride. We've noticed it's relatively full so far. I'd say at least maybe half full, which is pretty significant given there's next to no one traveling for several weeks. Let's get on board here.
On board, the train attendants collect our passports. They try to place CNN photojournalist Justin Robertson's accent.
Where am I from? I'm from London.
England?
Yeah. England, yeah.
It is not just friendly conversation, as they want to be sure that we've been in the country for at least 2 weeks, so that we're not potentially importing the virus from other areas. The threat to China now, thought to be external. Arriving in Wuhan, I'm quickly reminded of the last time we were here, almost 3 months to the day. We'd spent just 29 hours on the ground, when we abruptly learned that Wuhan was going on lockdown. CNN shared that scramble out of Wuhan with you. A rushed checkout, sparked by a 3 a.m. phone call.
Our rush right now is to check out, get out.
We headed to the train station as soon as we got word. As we arrived, crowds already lined up for tickets, stretching out the door.
It's 4:15 in the morning here, and the only way to buy tickets at this hour is in person.
From there, it was off to a Beijing hotel, quarantining before the rest of the world realized you'd soon be doing the same. 14 days in a hotel room to make sure we'd not contracted the virus. We continued our live reporting from quarantine, then relocated to Shanghai. And here we were, 3 months later, headed back to Wuhan. The lockdown was over, but the hesitation remains. As we interviewed an American who's lived in Wuhan since 2009, we also experienced the increased skepticism toward foreigners like us and the growing distrust of Western media, a crowd of police questioning us.
What do you say?
Where are you from?
Oh, you speak English.
Huh?
I'm from U.S., but I live in Beijing.
It was not our only interaction with authorities. When we returned to what some Chinese scientists believed to be the source of the outbreak, the Huanan seafood market, and started recording, police stepped out of a nearby tent to ask us why we were there.
Okay.
What do you say?
Just be quick.
Given that many medical experts believe the virus transmitted from wildlife to humans, we wanted to go to another Wuhan wet market to see what they were selling.
You pretty much find markets just like this all across China. This is actually a pretty normal one. You've got a bag full of toads, some fish on the chopping block over there.
No wildlife here, but some snakes, lots of frozen poultry, along with an array of fresh vegetables and spices, all under the same roof. Scenes like this appear to show the city of 11+ million residents coming back to life, folks enjoying a game of badminton or just soaking in the stillness, knowing that after weeks sealed inside your home, this is a luxury. And while many of the businesses here remain closed, the ones that have reopened are changing up the way they operate, keeping customers outside, bringing the products to them. Hotels, like ours, spraying down everyone who walks inside with disinfectant. The elevators are marked with a safe social distance. They provide a tissue to keep your bare fingers from touching the buttons. All of this as testing for the virus has become streamlined here. Before we left, we had to get ours done too. An easy appointment to make, a quick throat swab, $35 fee to expedite the results, and 24 hours later, we were handed the paperwork showing we were negative. And with that, we could then safely depart.
A far less rushed checkout this time leaving Wuhan compared with 3 months ago. We're getting in the car, we're headed to the train, and we're headed to Shanghai.
On the train back, police carefully examining our passports and test results, allowing us to return to Shanghai without having to do another quarantine. Once again, leaving behind Wuhan as it slowly awakens in this post-lockdown era. The people left a bit shell-shocked, navigating this uncertain moment with a cautious optimism.
10-second trivia. A century ago, Remington, Royal, and Underwood were all famous brands of what? Razors, watches, hats, or typewriters? All of these companies were famous for producing typewriters, which were invented in the 1800s. Back in the day when those typewriters were widely used around the world, people were taught to put 2 spaces in between sentences. So after you hit the period key, you'd hit the space bar twice. Here's why. Each letter printed from a typewriter took up the same amount of space. So adding the extra space after a sentence made the transition between sentences easier to read. Today, though, the letters in most of the fonts we read or print have different widths. An E, for example, takes up more space than an I. This is also intended to make text easier to read, so some argue that the extra space at the end of a sentence isn't necessary anymore, and several style guides from MLA to AP to the US government printing office suggest using only 1 space after a period. But if you're old school or you were taught to use 2 spaces or you just like it that way, Microsoft will attack you. The company's newest version of Word will put one of those blue squiggly lines indicating you've made a mistake after each double space following a period. Of course, you could tell Word to ignore it or just turn the feature off, but who would have thought there'd be a war over spacing in the typewriter space? Jeeps became famous for their role, get it, in helping move the Allies around the planet during World War II. But now, they're playing a part in another battle. This seemingly endless line of Wranglers recently rolled through the streets of Atlanta, Georgia in a show of support for medical workers. Several Jeep clubs teamed up to make this happen. The event's organizer says it's the least they could do for those on the front lines of the coronavirus fight. We're glad he could wrangle enough people to take part. You know they're all 4-wheel, and while the sight of so many express UVs could make you say Jeepers, there is nothing Jeep about the utility of big-hearted, wide-tire people when they've all got drive. I'm Carl Azuz. Some people have their head in the clouds. St. Cloud, Florida, where St. Cloud High School is watching today from our YouTube channel. Thanks for doing that. That's a wrap for CNN 10.